Hey everybody, welcome to 3 Minutes of Faith. This week I'm talking about the story of Lazarus and how it can be a symbol to a lot of difficulties that you may be going through in your life. Throughout the story we see that God loved them so much and yet he waited. It says God loved them, so he waited. Instead of but he waited. He used it so that he could bring the most glory to God possible. If he had gone earlier, it might not have brought as much glory because of Jewish tradition saying there was still spirit in the body for 3 days. He came on the 4th to show there was no doubt that Lazarus had died. He came on the 4th to show that he really did raise him from the dead. Absolute dead. There's no chance that he was semi-alive at all. And I think that throughout our lives we think God didn't make it on time, or he didn't do it on time. When, if you look at the story of Lazarus, Martha thought that too. Mary did as well, but I think the story focuses more on Martha's disappointment because she knew who God was. She knew he was the Son of God, the great I am, and yet he didn't come in time. He waited. Why did he wait? And she just didn't see the full picture of how much more glory was brought to God through that. In the story, she meets him at the gate and says, "Why weren't you here?" And God had to remind her that he is in control. And he said to bring him to the tomb where Lazarus' body laid. And she didn't want to. But when she did, he was able to raise Lazarus from the dead. I think sometimes our problems that we stuff inside a tomb hoping that they'll go away, we don't want to bring God to the tomb because we don't know if he'll be able to raise it. But he's shown multiple times that the power of God can resurrect you emotionally and spiritually. When they got to the tomb, he said, "Remove the stone so he can call Lazarus forth." And she said, "No, it stinks in there by now. It's not a good idea." Again, those emotions we stuff inside that tomb, they start to smell. The attitude that they bring stinks. And Martha didn't want to open up her tomb either of disappointment towards God because she said, "No, you don't want to do that. My attitude smells. It stinks in there by now. There's so much disappointment raging inside that if you open up, I don't know what'll happen." I think we do that with anxiety, fear, and pain, and sadness. Everything that we are afraid to feel, we're afraid to let God take control of as well because we're worried of what'll happen, but most of the time it's because we take it back before we give God a chance to do something with it. For me, I had to learn to do that with my anxiety. I had to learn that God's not late, even though I've had this for almost 4 years now. He's not just, letting me suffer through, taking his time. He's not being lazy. He's using it for the glory of God. And through waiting, I've been able to reach a lot more people. God is functionally late, which means he's on the right timing. Thanks for listening.